Welcome to this episode of Brilliant Brains and Beautiful Minds. I'm your host, Melanie Burnicle. We're chatting hair health with a conscience, original ideas, mineral and natural products, and sustainability. Yep, one brand that does it all. Please welcome my wonderful guest for today, Josie from O&M. So Josie, tell me, when you were a kid, what were your dreams and aspirations? Did you think you'd be on this career path, or where did you think you might want to go?
Well, I think growing up, I never really knew what I wanted to do, but my grandmother in particular was always very inspirational to me, and she used to subscribe to Vogue. And I can remember going to her house and always being so excited to see the latest Vogue, and she would always talk to me about fashion. And so that sort of got me started. I was always very intrigued with clothes. I felt that they were like art. And then growing up, my mother was always had us in health food stores and was always talking about low sugar and looking after your body. My father was very sick growing up, and he eventually died when I was 17. And so my mother was always like health, health, health. So I think it's sort of a combination of the two. So I initially thought I was going to work in fashion, and then yeah, I ended up falling into the hairdressing industry and focusing on the health in that area.
I love that. And that's, I think, really, yeah, I always love hearing how people sort of bring it in. And I think you've actually got, a really beautiful luxe product, and that sort of relates to the luxe fashion that you would have loved as well.
Yeah, it's so true. Now, I was like, when we first started, all of the sort of natural, low chemical products were in health food stores, and they were all green and brown. And I was like, what
Hmm.
about the glamorous women? What about me? I want to use low chemical products, but I want them to look pretty in my bathroom.
Yeah,
And
they need to have a sex appeal to them. He's like, I want to get my hands dirty with these.
totally. And so I think we really had the first sort of clean luxury hair care line. So we started with color, and then the hair care, which is all of the shampoos, conditioners, styling products. Yeah, I wanted them to look clean, but also luxury.
Yeah, and I think, yeah, you've done an amazing job with that because I've been using the products for a long time, and the bottles, everything, the packaging, it's sexy, but you see that it still looks like it's chemical free, which you've got to, I don't know how you did that balance, but it works.
Yeah.
So when you first started out with the ammonia free and the hair color, what obviously you wanted to go down that health path, but how did you think, where did it come from that you went, right, this has to change and I'm going to be the one to do it? Because it's
Yeah,
ballsy.
to be honest, I didn't really know that I was doing it. I think what happened was I had a background in media and marketing, and then I met a hairdresser and came to Sydney and started working here in media, and then he opened a hair salon and thought that people were going to rush in. And when they didn't, I said to him, do you want me to come and do some marketing? So I started to work there. And the first thing that hit me was I couldn't believe the smell and fumes. It was just like unbelievable. I mean, this was 20 years ago. So then,
Mm.
you know, there was perms and there was color, and it was all very smelly. And I thought, people don't understand what they're breathing in, and they don't understand what they're putting on their hair and the long-term health effects of that. And in London, I had been going to a salon, which is where I met my partner, who then became my husband and now is my ex-husband. um,
I think we've all had a couple of those.
all the best people have. And so I knew that there were hair colors that didn't smell and fume as much. So that was where it started. And also, he had very bad contact dermatitis, as did a couple of the apprentices who were shampooing. Like, their hands would bleed through always being in water and in hair color. So anyway, we started to bring over this ammonia-free hair color from a very small factory in Ireland. And that was how it started. And really, we just wanted it for our own team and our own clients. And then it sort of snowballed from there. I did all this marketing around organic salon, ammonia free. At the time, we had MOP, which was modern organic products. And so that was our hair care line. And then we had the color. And I can remember ringing the beauty editor of Vogue every single day, who was Caroline Padash at the time, And I would say to her, hey, Caroline, I've got this ammonia-free hair color and I'd love you to try it. And I've got the best hairdressers. And she would say to me, no, 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 I've got my own hairdresser. I've been going to her for 10 years. And I would say, okay. And then I would ring her the next day. And she said to me, are you going to ring me every single day? And I said, yeah, I am actually. And she said, okay. And so she came in. And then she did a little write-up in Vogue about this big, about seaweed lightener, which was a bleach that we had that was seaweed based. And from there we became like the beauty editor's secret. They all started coming. And that was,
Wow.
this exploded. Yeah.
I,
Um,
that's amazing. And I think a good lesson out there as well is that persistency. And if you're doing it with a smile and it's not, done nastily, it's like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna keep calling you.
Fake it till you make it. When she came in, we had no clients in that day. So we got Alan's mum to come in with a good handbag and put it there, and we put a colour on her. And then we got Wayne, our colourist, to come in with his mum and a good handbag. And she sat there. And then there was Caroline from Vogue. And then when Wayne had put her colour on, he went outside and he started to make phone calls to me, and I made fake appointments.
Oh my God.
We were pretending to book people in. It was so good. You totally just have to fake it till you make it. It's a total myth that entrepreneurs generally have an amazing plan and it's well thought out. Most people do it as a side hustle, I think, and they're just having a go.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think you also bringing something different to the market, changing people's mindset and perception. Like the first thing I think people would think was, is the hair color going to work if it doesn't have all these things which I've been told it needs to have?
Yeah, I
And
mean,
then so changing perception and changing mindset.
yeah, so we were pioneering, and that's why the brand is called Original and Mineral, because we were the original pioneers of ammonia-free hair color. And exactly that, like when we first started selling it to other salons, which was about 8 years later, I would walk into a salon and I would say, hey, my hair's an ammonia-free high lift blonde. And they would go, no, it isn't. And I say,
Yep.
yeah, yeah, it is. And you can try it. You're the expert. You tell me what you think. And then when they tried it, they'd be like, wow, how does it do that? And
Mm,
and so I was like, well, it's kind of, that's the secret herbs and spices. But
yeah.
I promise you, it's got no ammonia, it's got no smell, no fume. So yeah, and to be honest, it's been an insanely rocky road for the last 12 years, which has mainly been around product, because when you're trying to do something that you've never been done before, even though we didn't really realize we were pioneering, we pretty much made every mistake that you can think of along
Yeah.
the way. And but they were all the biggest learnings. But it's definitely not been without its pain. But that's okay.
Yeah.
It's all part of it.
Could you talk me through maybe like one of the so-called mistakes, and I like to call them a mistake from the, film industry. Take one, normally doesn't come together first go around. So how do you keep your energy up and how do you know that you're on the right path and keep moving forward? And if you could talk us through a bit of a scenario of something that was a bit of an epic failure and how you kind of got to the next phase to move forward. I'd love that to hear a story.
So so we were producing in this small factory in Ireland, and we had the hair color, and it was really good. And then because we were, quite a small brand, I was very surprised at the amount of phone calls that I would get from people saying to me, is the color PPD free? And I was like, what's PPD? And then I Googled it, and there's pages and pages of people having reactions and going into anaphylactic shock to
What
PPD.
does PPD stand for, just for people who don't know?
It's paraphenyldiamine, but basically what it is it's brown hair dye. So if you Google PPD, yeah, it's brown hair dye. And so if you imagine, the highest concentration of brown is in the darkest colors, right? So hair color goes from black is number one, 9 is number blonde, and it goes in between. So in the
Right.
dark colors have a higher concentration of PPD, but 80% of our business is gray coverage. It's people with brown hair that the white comes through and then they need it covered. So most people, well, you're going the other way. You're lifting out like me. Just wait till you go gray. You'll be happy that
Yeah.
you're blonde because your roots don't really show. Anyway, so I thought, oh, I must take this PPD out. that's terrible that people are having these reactions. And also, I bet that becomes known later to be a carcinogen. I bet they later on say that's going to cause cancer. So I made it my mission to take it out. So I moved from a manufacturer in Ireland to a big manufacturer in America who had made a massive multinational hair care line, hair color line. And I thought, wow, if they did that, and they said to me, we can take it out. So I worked with them for 4 years, and we had so many product problems. We had 100,000 units of color, for want of another better word, they went off, they oxidized. So the tube, the metal wasn't, when they crimped it over, the glue wasn't tight enough, and air started to get in, and they oxidized. We had separating color, like literally everything that could possibly happen. And it was because we were taking out PPD and resorcinol and ammonia, and we were trying to get the same result. So that it was a very tough time, and the business nearly went under 3 times. In actual fact, I had a business partner at the time who multiple times took me into a room and told me that I was unstable, unfit to run the company. I didn't know what I was doing. And it was mainly because we were having all these product problems. But every time it happened, all I felt was that the universe was sending me a signal to re-strategize. I don't know why, but I always believed that it was going to be possible. And I thought, why not me? Why couldn't I do it? Why not? And I just genuinely believed that hair color would become a health choice like food. Yeah. So I think that the trick is that when something sort of negative happens, if you see it from what do I need to learn? What could I do differently? If I knew then what I know now, what would I do? So I just always saw it like that. And I didn't beat myself up. Even though other people were beating me up, I would go, well done, Josie. You try really hard. Well done. Even when you're failing, you try really hard. And then I also think, you know, what girls have got is we do have hair and makeup and clothes. And I used to use that a lot. I would just pick myself up, dust myself up, put a cute outfit on, and come out in front of the team and tell them what we were going to do next.
I love that. I think just having that confidence and knowing that you are trying to do something great and just not giving up on that and knowing that it's just a hurdle rather than, you know, a big full stop.
Yeah, that's right. I think, you know, and I listen to a lot of other entrepreneurs as well. And every entrepreneur has had massive ups and downs. They have. If you spoke to Richard Branson, he would have a litany of failed companies. I mean, you look at what's happening to Virgin Australia now, it's like, you know, they have. And it's just that they have faith in themselves and keep going, and they re-strategize.
But I think it's really important to be able to re-strategize and work out how you get over the hurdle rather than allowing it to stop your journey altogether. And, you know, you've got to leave part of that, you know, oh, I could have done this, or you've got to leave that behind and work out what's in front of you and how you're going to get there.
Yeah, blaming anyone, including yourself, never got anyone anywhere. All it did, you know, and fear is the opposite of action. So being too afraid it's just, you can't. You've just got to be your own best friend. But if you boil it down to one thing, because I've done a massive amount of self-development and I've done a lot of tree hugging and been on various courses.
Great, isn't it?
So good. But it really all comes down to your beliefs. So I genuinely believed that hair color was going to become a health choice and that I needed to do something about it. That was my small piece of the universe. And I believed it was possible. So we're all fulfilling our beliefs. Like if you believe that life's hard, you're never going to have any money, then that's what will happen. If you believe that you must pay your rent and, you know, you must do certain things, then you'll just do whatever's on the must list.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's kind of, I often say to people, the trick is to get out of your own way. We're all getting in our own way. We're all thinking of 100%. Why not? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's great advice for anybody. And I think sometimes when you are in business alone, you've got to get out of your own head. Like you know, if your head's playing havoc with your positive mindset. You've got to get out of it and look at the bigger picture and start to strategize, like you said, and just know what's the end goal and just keep, chugging along to get there.
Yeah, that's right. And whilst you're along the way, the goal might change slightly. Do you know what I
Yep.
mean? Like you might go, oh, actually, I could do that and that would be better. But you're moving towards that.
Yeah. Now, I wanted to go back to, when you're saying people were developing anaphylactic reactions from hair
Yeah.
color. Now, that's been me. Now I work in the industry, so you would think, now I'm not a hairdresser by trade, but I style hair for shoots. So you would think that I would have thought that your scalp weeping and bleeding after having, scalp bleach. I was like, beauty is pain. That's normal. And it was progressively getting worse each time, but I still had no idea that this was moving into an anaphylactic reaction. So this was going on for a couple of years and it was getting worse. Then I started with a rash, like on my face and on my body, and I was like, oh, I feel really hot. And then as soon as they'd wash the bleach off, my scalp would be weeping and bleeding for another 2 weeks. But I'm like, oh yeah, my hair color looks all right. And then it got to a point where I moved to a different salon and basically I had no problem. So the bleach that they were using was now okay. So I was like, okay, so I got about maybe four colors out of that bleach before again I started to get, it starts off with like stabbing pains. And so it starts off with stabbing pains in my armpits and in my fingers. And then all of a sudden I'm covered in welts and my face is out here. And so now what I found, even walking into a salon and I start to smell all of those chemicals, and I don't know if it's my body reacting and it's really sensitized or if I'm actually almost starting to panic, because it got to a point where it's quite a scary moment. And then it wasn't until someone said, "Did you realize that this is an anaphylactic reaction?" And because I was like, "Oh, leave the hair color on for a bit. It's still gold. Quick, it's not
Yeah.
blonde enough." And
Goals.
they're like, "Babe, we've got to get you under." They said, "How long has this stuff been going on?" I said, "Oh, it's progressively been getting worse for a couple of years." They said, "Other people should have told you that this is what's happening." I said, "Well, they didn't, and I just thought this was normal." So scary.
So what's the last color? Was that bleach the last one you had?
So what I have to do now is literally have my whole head foiled so that it doesn't touch the scalp.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, it's you know, um, just to explain for anyone that was watching, the PPD reaction is people using brown, and what you're doing is you're lifting color out of your hair and you're using bleach, which is, you know, you need bleach to lift color out. I mean, we
Yeah.
hairdressers have been doing it for years. So we have ammonia-free bleaches that you could certainly try, and we would love to do your hair, and we can talk about you coming into the O&M space. Uh,
Yeah, it definitely needs. I'm trying to make it look cool, but
it's working. Um,
liar, liar.
um, well, you could do what I do. See, I actually cut my roots out on the picture. You see on the Zoom, you can't see them.
Maybe I need to be taller.
But what you're saying that you're doing is a sort of sensible option, doing foils which go very close to the scalp but don't quite touch.
Yeah.
And when we get pregnant women or people with scalp sensitivities who are really, really worried, we would suggest the same. So I definitely think you've been suggested the same thing.
Yeah.
And you see as well, on scalp bleaching creates a lot of heat, the heat from your scalp, and then
Yeah.
the pores are open, and there are lots of factors that can influence scalp irritation, like if you've drank a coffee before you came in or whilst you're there, because that stimulates the scalp, open the pores. If it was hot and you ran in and your pores were open, you're a bit sweaty, it's going to be worse.
Do you know, oh, I'd never really thought it. Like, I know, like, when I'm getting laser hair removal, they always don't have stimulants, like, is in a coffee,
Yeah.
and don't do that because you'll be a little bit more sensitive. So I didn't actually think about your scalp because I don't see it, so I don't think about it.
Yeah, but it's exactly the same. So all of those things will make it worse. Um, so what we talk about with O&M is it's a safer alternative. It's got no smell, no fumes. So we bought all of the available research with people having anaphylactic reactions. And the substitutes that we use for PPD are 50%, they are 50% less likely to cause a reaction. So what
Wow.
we say is patch test, you know,
Yep.
so, but what I'm finding is that people are more into prevention rather than just reacting when they've got a problem as well. So there's a growing number of people that are just, they want to use more low chemical products. So that's the biggest growth market for us. And then, but we are having people that haven't been able to color their hair for a long time who then are able to successfully color their hair with O&M.
How exciting. Because I've been coloring my hair since I was 16 and 43 now. And I'm just like, you just give me that cut. Someone said, why don't you just go natural? I looked at them the other day and I said, do you know who you're talking to? Are we friends? Like, how long have you known me?
I know. You know what? You will actually, because I'm about 50% grey now, and you will actually be happy when you go grey, because then you can just have the highlights. That's what I do, and
Yeah.
you don't really get a massive amount of root because they're so
Yeah.
grey.
Yeah, I've got a couple, but surprisingly, I thought I would have had a few more by now. There's a couple in the front, and I was convinced for about 3 days of boredom in COVID that it was my natural blonde coming through from when I was a child. Delusional, and maybe a glass of wine too many. Well, I think one thing that we've been talking about at the moment as well is having my audience sort of understanding their purpose and the drive for their business. And I think your message is super clear. Can you just sort of define that in maybe a sentence on your brand's purpose or key messaging that's constantly being delivered so that people build and that builds brand trust and people they come to you because they do trust your brand.
Yes, thank you. So I think, you know, I really wanted to build a clean luxury hair care brand that had really good ethics behind it in philosophy. We've always been very upfront about what we leave out and why, and that we always believed that hair color was going to become a health choice like food or makeup or cleaning products, and that people can trust us. We are they call us like a discovery challenger brand. So we're sort of, people can connect with us, they can talk to me directly on Instagram, or anywhere, and they can trust us, and we are constantly working on new ways to reduce harsh chemicals in hair care and hair color. And I'm in love with the brand. I think if you look at all the best brands, somebody was in love with it, particularly at the beginning, and yeah, I'm over everything, and yeah, I'm in love with it. So
I love that. I love it. Um, I remember when I first started using your products on set on other people, and so three that I've had in my kit for a really long time now are the Rootalicious, the Surf Bomb, and the Atomic Thickener because they're things that I love for my hair. So then I was using them on people, and one of the things that a lot of clients struggle with in your chair, regardless of celebrity or whoever you're shooting, is just getting volume in the hair. And I love a bit of volume because I've got quite fine hair. The bleach had helped, but um, but yeah. So when I use the products, one thing that people always would say is that they love the hairstyle. What products did I use? They smell good, and then I'd always throw in. You do realize like it's original and mineral, and so there's a lot of natural products, there's less chemicals and this, and people generally didn't believe me that they could actually get the good end result without the chemical process. Was that again, like I guess when you move from the hair color through to the hair styling products, is that something that you're always re-educating people on, that there are alternatives that do really function well?
yeah, definitely. I mean, I think originally the biggest myth that we had to overcome was that sulfate free shampoos didn't foam. So that was the biggest thing, and that also sulfate free shampoos could feel like luxury. So I remember I used to get like Kerastase and other like luxury products. I put it on this side, and then I'd put O&M on this side, and I'd say to the chemist, see this feeling, that's what I want. And they would go, you're crazy, but you don't want any parabens, propylene glycol. I would go, yeah, I don't want any of that, because I've got what we call the zero list, zero of these chemicals. But so I think number one, technology's moved on. And also I think people have realized that the high chemical products are just really cheap to make, and that more natural products and clean products are more expensive to make. So you kind of get what you pay for. But it is actually coming into line now, because there are so many more natural products. The raw materials are becoming less expensive, so the product can be more affordable. But yeah, we've been fighting a lot of those myths for years, and that was partly why we made the packaging look so luxury, because
Mm.
we've got two types of customer. One that just goes, oh wow, I love that brand, I love it's cool, looks, the smells, and it's great on my hair. And then the other one who's like, oh, it's free of all these chemicals that I don't want to use. It's Australian, you know. So I think we managed to hit kind of both markets. And I think in particular, the hairdresser was very used to high chemical products. And because our main distribution is through hair salons, they needed to love it first and feel that it was going to work. So if it works in a hairdressing salon, it works enough to use at home, because hairdressers are incredibly picky and critical. And I mean, I get some of the best feedback ever in hair salons from hairstylists because they're so opinionated.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no
so
one's short of a word either.
no, I love it.
Yeah, but what great, at least you know from hands-on people that work with product, they work with hair, and you're getting the best feedback to ensure that you've got amazing products going out, not just to the hairdressers, but to the consumer.
Yeah, totally. No, when I love going into hair salons. So I spend probably 30 to 40% of my time in hair salons with hairdressers. And I say to them, oh, tell me what you don't like. And then I go, oh, what else have you got in here? Can I go in your back room? What are you using? What have you got? What have you got from other brands? And they just laugh at
Yeah.
me. But, and I think because I worked on the reception of our hair salon for 9 years, I know what it's. I've got a lot of empathy for hair salon owners. I know what it's like to work 9 Christmases as a hairdresser, as a receptionist, whatever. I know
Yeah.
what it's like, So, and I know that the product's got to be good. It's got to arrive fast. It's got to be easy to explain to the clients. It's got to work. They don't
Yeah.
have time for messing around.
Yeah. When you're looking to develop either a new product to bring to market or what would you say the time frame is from say concept and then working through like I'm sure each product's different, but at the same time if you were creating a new styling product, generally what would you say your process is and like how long would that take to get it from up in here to out to all of us?
Yeah, so I drive most of my team crazy because I get an idea and then I get really excited. I want to do it now. And I'm like, yeah, we can just do that now. But really, officially, it should take about 9 months. Um, and but we sometimes can do it in about 6. But basically, you get your initial idea, you see your gap in the range, you feel passionate about what you want to do, and then the perfect combination of marketing is 60 to 70% looking at what everyone else is doing, and then 30 to 40% your own ideas. Because let's face it, we're not reinventing the wheel. There's lots of hair care lines out there, lots of hair color lines. We're just doing it within our own philosophy. So it's important to know who your customer is and who your competitors are and what they're doing. So there's always that bit of analysis at the beginning, and then it's like, what's the function of the product, what are we leaving out, does it fit with the brand philosophy? And then we work with a chemist now, but initially we used to work with the chemist at the factory, but we have our own chemist now. And then we'll start the sampling process, and only when we're 100% happy with the product, the goo as we call it, which is obviously what goes inside the packaging, can we then do the packaging. And the packaging generally takes 3 to 4 months.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's quite a long time, and it's a
Yeah.
lot longer. And then the minimum runs are big on packaging. We have all custom packaging, so it does take a lot longer. And I think if somebody was wanting to start their own product range, knowing them what I know now, and seeing the world the way it is, I would start with one product.
Yep.
You got a hammer and a nail, and I would hit that one product. Whereas I started with about 120 and then went up to 160. Um,
Just wanted to make your life easy, did you, babe?
yeah, yeah. But now I would just go one product, I would hero it, I would hit that, I would get traction with it, and then I would bring other things after it.
Coming from a marketing background as well, how much have you found that marketing's changed around your brand with the inclusion of digital marketing and everything from probably when you started out to now? Like, where do you probably focus your main part of your marketing campaigns?
Yeah, I mean, totally. It has changed so much. I was thinking about it the other day. When we first started the salon, we used to do mail drops on different colored bits of paper so we knew which area people had come from. And um,
That's really clever.
yeah. And then we did email marketing, but it was literally just an email that people could forward. And now obviously everything has changed so much. I mean, I think social media has really changed the world, and it's changed the opportunity for brands and individuals to become overnight successes. You know, I think building an actual brand takes longer, that's got real longevity. But yeah, so now we mainly focus, like social media is a massive focus for us, content. The way that we reach our customer is so different, whether it's the salon owner or the consumer. We do so much more video now, and content is so fast moving. Whereas even 4 years ago, we used to do big campaigns where we would spend a lot of money. And now we're looking to do with lots of small campaigns. And we work with brands, fashion brands like Basic and P Nation and various other brands, by Johnny. And we do like 12 shoots for them a year where we do the hair. So we're definitely in content, and we see a lot of our leads generating through social media. And then number one for us as well is email marketing. So people
Wow,
are,
so that still really works well for you.
yeah, so we recently hired a digital marketing manager about 6 months ago, and she's made a tremendous difference to the business. She really looked at where we were appearing on search engines and the way the back end of the website was set up with keywords in order to us to get the right people coming through. And that's made a massive difference. And I said to her in the interview, because she worked for a very big media company and was in charge of their digital. And I said, what's number one for if you do Facebook advertising, Instagram advertising, YouTube, Google, what's number one? And she said, email marketing. She said, invest in an email marketing program. Now,
Wow.
we were using, I can't remember now, a free one for years and years, which was absolutely fine for the size of the business. And now we're using Campaign Monitor, which is still not crazy expensive. I can't remember, it's a subscription, but they're just so sophisticated now, the way that they can split up your database, and then they can also retarget people, work with your website. Like it's digital all the way. Like it
Yeah.
really is. And actually, it's much less money than it used to be in the old days to do an ad. You know, it's
Mm.
like
Yeah.
we
Well,
just want,
putting an ad into a magazine, that was a fortune. And you were
yeah.
hitting so many different types of people, even if it was in the paper. Like it just, it's not direct target marketing.
Yeah, it's so true. And it's yeah, it's just a different world, the way influencers work, and
Yeah.
anyone can be an influencer. And then there's now the whole controversy between paid influencers and micro influencers. And so I think we're going to see, particularly after COVID, we're going to see a massive shift in that as well, because people don't want to see people in the Hamptons, um, doing isolating by the pool with a cocktail, you know.
Yeah. Do you know, every person I've spoken to, either on the interview series that we've started doing, or I was about to say in reality, like when I'm talking with real people. But it's just been one of those things, and a lot of people have said they're so over at the moment seeing a bit of BS, and they just want to know if you're actually using the product, how the bloody hell are you using it? And something that's honest and real, and everything where you're just being paid to do something because it's a money maker. I think a lot of people just haven't been interested in that during this time. Sometimes it's all right to look at the fairy stuff, and it's what I call, it's all like, oh, it's all pretty. But during this time, I just found myself, even people that I like, I just couldn't deal with, oh, I'm doing this, and look at this. And I just like delay. And I don't know if I was just frustrated with the whole situation in life, or if I just wanted something authentic, and just someone that I knew wasn't selling me something, and it was something that they were actually using or doing. And I just needed something honest that felt like I had some control over goodness going on in my world.
Yeah, I think people need to connect, and I think that's the power of social media for business.
Mm.
I also think, like I'm obviously reasonably dressed up today, and I've done so many videos since COVID-19 started where I've said, I had to reduce my payroll by 39%. I had to, all of my whole team went down to 4 days a week. As part of that, to try and keep as many people on, I had to let go of some casual people. Like we've had, distributors from us around the world ringing us, telling us what's going on in Europe, and we've got 11 people in lockdown in New York who have been in lockdown now for nearly 2 months, and they work in our New York Academy, and they go, you know, every 10 days to the supermarket. Like we've got no idea what goes on here.
No.
But I still want to get up and feel good. And I believe that we're going to come out positively out of this. I think that the world is going to be a different place. And so I've spent the last couple of months re-strategizing.
Yeah.
But, you know, I still want to feel good. And yeah, I think, yeah, there's, you know, we don't have anything to moan about, right? That we're so lucky, particularly in Australia.
We really are.
But yeah, I do think that the way that what people want to see, they do want to see more authentic content.
Yeah. I 100% agree with you. And I think, yeah, to see what else goes on in the rest of the world. And I think you're so right. After this, everyone's going to be re-strategizing if they're not doing so already, and really thinking about how the structure of their business will be, and on a global scale, because, you know, look at your business, it's a global business. And, you know, yes, Australia's okay at the moment, and the hair salons are reopening as we speak, so that's positive. But around the rest of the world, that's still going to be a hard slog for them. And the fact that you're still thinking about how can I keep this going, and how can I look after people, even when, you know, it's a hard thing at the moment. It's a really nice thing to know that you care so much about the people that work and keep your business going.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, we're so, you know, we've, to the hair salons that are our customers, we've been offering extended terms or like really long payment plans. And, you know, I've been calling lots of them. You know, we've done affiliate programs where hairdressers can send their customers to our website and then get a commission on the product sale. You know, and we started a support our salons and SOS program, and then we've been doing wellness content. Oh my God, they've had me doing Zoom workouts twice a week, and we've been doing like essential oils at home and like various wellness contents and meditating. We do tapping. I'm like obsessed with tapping. Yeah, I just, you know, I think what I would like people to realize is that people like me with a great business it just doesn't happen easily, right? And even every day I say it takes me at least an hour to get over myself. You know, I have to do my morning routine, which is I meditate. I do EFT tapping, which is a clinically proven psychologically it unblocks, they're the tapping points. It unblocks any blockages, basically. And you can follow it on YouTube. There's a very good guy called Brad who does a whole tapping channel. But and then
If we just type in Brad tapping, will
yeah,
it
Brad
come up?
tapping, he'll come. You can tap for money. Money flows easily into my life. I've always got money, and you
All
can
right.
tap for anything.
I'm tapping.
You know what? People shouldn't be afraid to ask the universe. It goes back to your beliefs. Like you've got to believe that you're worthy of success and money or whatever, and it's not going to make you into a bad person. In fact, there's a lot of good you can do with it.
That's
So
right.
yeah, so it takes me about an hour to get over myself and then get myself going for the day. It just does. The
Yeah.
same as everyone else, and the same. Some days I don't want to get up. It's all
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, I love it. And thanks for being honest as well with that, because a lot of people just, you know, it's this bit of a facade, and it's nice just to know what different people do to kind of get their day going as well. And it's different for everyone, but it's just always nice to learn something new.
Yeah, well, my psychologist who I speak to every week says to me, it's all about the morning routine. It's all about how you start your day. And that she had a client who was a billionaire, and she said it was all about the morning routine. And then also, she calls it mapping your day. Like in the morning, you wake up and you go, right, this is what I've got to do with my day. But what you need to do is put some positive stuff in there as well, not just, you know, all of these chores that you've got to do. And then meditating, the great thing about meditating is you're basically allowing space for new experiences, because your mind is constantly full of, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. But when you meditate, you clear everything out. And I find that when I meditate, always good things happen to me, because I've allowed the space for other information to come in.
I wanted to just go back in and sort of chat again with O&M and some of the sustainability practices that you're putting into your business. Like for me, I think what you're doing is sort of hair health with a conscience, and like to do sustainability within your packaging, within your product, with everything, within your business structure. It's expensive. And the fact that you're investing in that to create a beautiful future, could you tell us like, is it people should just start, or do they need to get to a certain point to be able to do it? Or how did you start going on that sustainability journey, and where does it go from here?
Yeah, so it's been a big one that we've been planning over the last 12 months. I think, yeah, as you said, like health was kind of the primary, driver behind O&M. And so now we're very much looking at sustainability as part of that as well. And we looked quite a lot. The EU came out and made a whole bunch of promises of things that they're going to do by, I think it's 2028. So it's their sustainable development goals. So we looked at which of those ones that we could meet, and we're sort of in process at the moment, but the ones that we think we're going to meet, and we're actually working on our timeline at the moment, is gender equality. So, I mean, if anything, hairdressing is a more female skewed industry, and we did a whole survey of, because, like there's still like less than 6% of boards have women on them, that like there's still a lot of gender inequality, and it is changing. But even within our own database, 70% of the salon owners that we deal with are women. So hairdressing is actually doing a lot for gender equality and women owning their own businesses. So that's one that was really important to us. And then another of the EU's sustainable development goals is decent work and economic growth. And so we're building a solid business that provides decent work for people and economic growth within our category. And then eco products, and biodegradable products. So what we're looking at is, so all of O&M, it was supposed to be by the end of this year. With COVID, it might be slightly pushed back, but it's all going into ocean waste recycled packaging. So that was really important to us, that we wanted to be able to do that. And then we are also doing FSC certification on all of our paper goods. So basically it's this body, and what they do is they approve certain suppliers that the papers are coming from renewable resources, and that they fit within the ethics. So it's all fully sustainable. So those are all things that we're looking at the moment, and we're moving towards. So I think if I was starting again, I can tell you that ocean recycled plastic, or recycled plastic, even if you don't do ocean waste, is a bit more expensive. It's about 50%, but packaging is at the lower end of the cost. Do you know what I mean? Like the biggest cost is the fill if you're using a quality product. The packaging is not. So, and stuff like this recycled paper, they're all very easy things that you can do right now. Yeah, I mean, I noticed lots of fashion brands are doing it. One of the EU sustainable goals is around water, preserving water, because water is actually one of the biggest threats to the planet with resources. And so there's like water-free makeup brands now, and yeah.
How have I missed that one?
Oh, yeah, there is in the UK. I'll send you. I was reading about it because I'm always looking at what other people are doing.
Yeah, I'd love to have a bit of a read.
I just think the future of our planet is really important, and for our children. And I personally have been around a lot of cancer in my life, and I believe that environmental toxins that we are open to are causing chronic disease, and people don't realize it. So I think
I 100% agree with you. Yeah, I think with the toxic chemicals, because they've been around for such a long time, people haven't been aware that they aren't great for you. And I think that's only sort of been coming out and however long. But I actually was doing makeup on this amazing woman for a magazine, and she was a toxics expert. And this would have to be at least 8 years ago. And I went to use a dry shampoo on her, and it wasn't your brand. I was using a dry shampoo, and I just needed to get some volume, and she basically, when I went to spray it, she said, "Oh, do you mind if we walk outside?" And I said, "Oh, why?" She said, "Well, look, we're in a really confined space, and it's a highly toxic product. Dry shampoo was one of the most highly toxic products." And I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, no worries." I never thought about that. I just hadn't thought about it. And then she said, "Oh, I can give you a little bit of information if you like." And she was explaining to me that some of the work that she had done, a lot of people, she said, how many friends have you got in the hairdressing industry? And, have they had a lot of trouble conceiving? Have they had a lot of trouble doing a lot of things? So what some of the research they done, the correlation between hormones, the chemicals, the fragrances and the chemicals, and and all of this. And she said that those products are highly toxic. And it wasn't not long after that I'd come across your products because of what she'd said. And then it really started to make a difference, and just that education. And do you hear of that as in, I don't know, I'm only going from what she said with the toxicity and other
Yeah,
people, but have you found that in the hair industry?
yeah. Well, for instance, in Europe, and our products are all EU compliant, there's over 2,000 chemicals that are banned. And in America, there's 4.
What?
America is very unregulated. And the thing is that particularly with hair color, the UK Cancer Council came out in 2016 and said if you color your hair with PPD, which is the dark hair dye I was telling you about, you're 15% more likely to get breast cancer. And there was actually been a study that's just been done in the US last year that's linked hair color to breast cancer. And they also cited hairdressers as 40% more likely to get bladder cancer. So to be honest, the reason why the O&M business is growing so fast is that hair color became a health choice. And so
Yeah.
people are becoming more aware of it. And it's the same with products in, other chemicals that we use. And there are lots of websites now that can give you ratings. And yeah, I mean, we're coming across it all the time.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
It's
love that. I love that before it became a trend and before all the people knew about this, you trusted your gut and you've created something and just took that stance and like, no, I'm going to do something good.
Yeah, and honestly, even in 2015, the company was not in good shape, and then I did the hair color again, and then 2016 was when it exploded, which was around this time that the Cancer Council came out and said the same thing.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's timing as well. I think timing was good in the
Yeah.
end.
And your persistence as well. Like I think, it's so gutsy when people are saying, shut the doors, don't do this, don't do that. And you're just like, no, there's goodness in this and I believe in what I'm doing and just had enough balls to keep going, which is brilliant. And I'm sure most people's heads are grateful and the rest of their body.
Thank you.
Josie, that's been an amazing chat, in regards to everything sustainable and hair health and, being conscious about your decisions. All right, perfect. So, just to sort of finish off, we're going to do our 1 minute makeup quiz. Are
Okay.
you ready?
Yeah, I am. I'm excited.
Okay, so favorite beauty campaign of all time?
I'm actually obsessed with the Glossier campaign that came out last year that's called Feels Like Glossier. It's amazing. They got ordinary people that work for them. And yeah, and it was a fantastic campaign.
Favorite makeup product under 25 bucks?
Okay, so it's a Glossier product as well. I actually brought it down with me. It's this cloud paint. I've got it on my lips and my cheeks. It's a tint. This is Haze.
And what would be your favorite product over 25 bucks?
I'm obsessed with this Kevin Orkine bronzer. So it's like a cream. I like creams. I can mix it with my foundation or my tinted moisturizer, and it basically just gives me a bit of a glow.
If you had to choose one shade of lippy, what would it be?
I'm really just into the soft pinks. I like soft pink lip color. I wear a lot of Lana lips, and she's got a rhubarb one that I really like. Yeah, I like glosses and pink.
Yeah. Favorite beauty icon?
Bridget Bardot. I'm obsessed with her hair and the makeup and the eyeliner. And she had that California wave before anyone did, before it was cool. Yeah, I loved her.
Yeah. Signature fragrances throughout the decades?
I was actually trying to remember back to my 20s. And then I remembered CK1, Kate Moss. I was obsessed with Kate Moss, and it was the first unisex fragrance, and I was like, oh my God. Yeah, so I was wearing CK1 in my 20s.
Yeah.
And then in my 30s, I was wearing Jo Malone. I actually am a real rose fan. And so I was wearing Jo Malone Red Roses. My grandmother used to wear a rose as well. And then now I'm wearing this Frederic Malle lipstick rose.
Favorite haircut or color you've ever had?
Okay, so for years I had this very sharp bob that was very blonde with a fringe, and if you Google me, it was my trademark. It was ever, I loved it. So that was probably my favorite. I had it for a long time, and people always say to me, you've got to get the fringe back, you've got to go back to straight. But you could really only see like this amount of my face. And I think that guys prefer the wave. Anyway, so I'm trying the wave.
Worst haircut or colour you've ever had?
Yeah, when I first came to Australia, I had like a bowl that was like brown, kind of mousy, but it was like really round here and really brown. And there's still pictures online, so bad.
What would be a skincare product that you cannot live without?
Okay, I'm obsessed with oil. So, and I there's a New Zealand product called Sans, which means without. And they've got an oil called Activator 7, and it's a body and face oil. But I use it on my face twice a day, and the base of it is like olive oil, jojoba oil. I mean, when I put it on, I'm like an oil slick, but it's the best. I love it. Those Sans, yeah.
What would be the best beauty tips, so either hair, skincare, makeup, that you've ever been given?
I really think that I was thinking about this, that color. What I realized is when you've got fine hair like me, color gives texture. So that's why I need to be blonde. And when my roots get big, my hair kind of goes lank. So that's my best hair tip, is that color gives texture. And then I also learned a few years ago that cream is better on middle-aged faces than too dry. So that's why I like tinted moisturizers, cream blushes. So I tend to not be afraid of shine.
Go-to nail color?
So I go either nude, but mainly I like Lincoln Park. I like that blood red, looks sort of a bit like black.
Favorite 90s makeup product?
Oh, glitter. I was like anything glitter on the arms, on the eyes, eyelids, like just glitter.
If you could only have one product in lockdown, what would it be?
It would have to be a tonic, which is our thickening spray, because honestly, I am so depressed if my hair is flat, and I can even spray that in and let it dry naturally, and it won't be completely flat, because my hair is literally poker straight, very fine. So it's got to be a thickening product.
In 3 words or less, what does beauty mean to you?
I was thinking about this too. I was thinking it means empowerment, confidence, and it means love. I think there's self-love in beauty and looking after yourself.
Yeah. Oh, I'm feeling it. I love it. Josie, thank you for sharing all your amazing business tips and tricks and your journey with us, and our fun little beauty quiz.
So much. I've loved it. It's been so lovely to talk to you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Well, that's it for this episode of Brilliant Brains and Beautiful Mind. I'm Melanie Burnicle. Until next time.